I didn't expect a Sherlock story to take me back to Turkey, but when it did, something felt off. Hey everyone, so I've been watching Young Sherlock on Prime, and this one might be the most different versions we have ever seen. But there's also something else that caught my attention. As a Turkish guy living in the United States, I was really curious about how they handled Turkey in the show, because usually it's not exactly accurate. So the real question is, did they finally get it right? And don't worry, I'll keep this spoiler free. They go to Turkey in the show. This is the only spoiler I'm giving you in this episode. Just to give you some context, I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan and I went to Baker Street. I have read the books, I watched the series, watched the movies, and I don't usually miss anything related to Sherlock. So when Young Sherlock came out, I had to watch it. And that's exactly why this version caught my attention. And if you enjoy this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. It really helps the channel. Let's start.
You are most welcome.
First of all, why this works? A big part is the people behind it. You can clearly feel the influence of Guy Ritchie. That fast-paced rhythm, the sharp transitions, the energy in the storytelling, it gives the show a very distinct tone, something that feels both modern and classic at the same time.
Promise me something.
Anything, Mother.
Stay out of trouble.
But what really stood out to me is casting, especially with younger actors. They don't just look the part, they actually feel believable. And alongside them, you have experienced names like Colin Firth and Natasha McElhone, which add a certain weight to the story. I really like Natasha McElhone as Cordelia Holmes. I like Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia Adams. By the way, Sherlock's father is played by Joseph Fiennes, which is the young Sherlock, Hero Fiennes Tiffin's uncle. What will you do with this information? It's up to you. And speaking of casting, you can tell me, hey, what are you talking about? The old Sherlock Holmes are like from Michael Caine to Robert Downey Jr., from Benedict Cumberbatch, even Henry Cavill. Each of them brought something unique to the character and set a very high standard. So finding a younger, relatively unknown actor who can carry that legacy and still make the role feel fresh is not an easy task. But I think Young Sherlock makes a smart choice here. Instead of trying to imitate those performances, it builds something new. So what actually makes this Sherlock different? Because we have seen Sherlock Holmes as a finished character, confident, brilliant, almost untouchable. But Young Sherlock does something else. It takes the legend and pulls it back. Sherlock isn't fully formed yet, he's still intelligent, you can see the potential, but he's also uncertain. He makes mistakes, he reacts emotionally, he doesn't always have control. And that changes how we experience the story. Because this time, it's not about watching a genius solve problems, it's about watching someone become that genius. And maybe that's what makes it interesting, because for the first time, Sherlock doesn't feel like a legend, he feels human. At first, the idea of Sherlock and James Moriarty becoming friends at Oxford might feel a little unusual and weird.
Trouble.
Sherlock Holmes, James Moriarty.
But as the story unfolds, you start to realize how much it adds to the narrative. Because it introduces a deeper conflict, not just between two characters, but between two minds that are incredibly similar and yet fundamentally different. And that tension is what keeps the story engaging. Now I will say this, the first few episodes do require a bit of patience, because the show is still building its world, setting things up and introducing its characters. And that can feel a little slow at times. But once it finds its rhythm, the pace starts to pick up, and that's when things get interesting. You begin to see the influence of Guy Ritchie more clearly. The energy, the timing, the way scenes start to flow, that signature style slowly starts to come through. So, if the first episode doesn't fully hook you, give it a little time. When the story moves to Turkey, it's just not a changing of location, but as someone who's living in United States and Turkish, I've seen how this usually goes. And most of the time, it's not very accurate. But Young Sherlock actually tries. Not perfectly, but noticeably. Let's talk about the character Emine, who welcomes Holmes' family in Istanbul. She doesn't look like Turkish, but the personal page says is partly Turkish, because when she talks, she has accent. It flows, it sounds very natural, and that's something we don't always get. Because a lot of time there's a basic misunderstanding that they say that Turkish is similar to Arabic and sounds like Arabic, but actually it's not. And yes, there are also some visual cliches like camels. But this time I'm not that mad because in 1870s, there must be some camels in Istanbul at that time. That being said, the show isn't perfect. There are moments where the pacing slows down and not every storyline feels equally strong. So overall, is the season amazing? Not really. But is it interesting? Definitely. And if you are a Sherlock Holmes fan like me, I would say it's absolutely worth watching. I'm expecting a much better second season. I don't know whether it's confirmed or not, but the second season is going to be much better. If you are still around in this video, please leave a like and it would really help. And if you want more videos like this, please feel free to subscribe. Thank you.